What's up, you guys? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the episode review of She-Hulk. It is season 1, episode 3. You guys, this episode was titled The People versus Emil Blonsky, right? So before we go ahead and get into this episode, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you aren't subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss She-Hulk, shall we? So this episode, it picks up where we last left off. You guys remember, Emil escaped from prison and Jen found out, right? So we see Jen. So Jen is at the jail and she is going off on Emil like, why did you escape from jail? Like, and on top of that, it was recorded. So he tells her, so yeah, I was kind of forced to leave my cell, so it's not like I left on my own free will. I was forced, but I did return back to my cell on my own free will. So she says, who helped you? Who forced you to leave your cell? He tells her it was Wong who forced him to escape. So then we see Jen, she's on the phone and she's talking to Nikki. So she wants Nikki to try to make contact with Wong. And she's like, well, there's two people. There's two Wongs, so it could be either one of these two. She's like, do you think you can get him? She's like, yeah, I sent him a thirst trap, right? So Jen then turns to, the one thing I do like about this is the fact that she turns to the camera and she talks to us, right? So she's like, yeah, I know what you guys are probably thinking, right? Yeah, you're probably thinking, damn, so every week is gonna be a cameo appearance. She says, no, remember, whose show is this? It's my show. I know you saw Bruce, I know you see Emil, and now you're gonna see Wong, but that's not this kind of show. This is still my show. So we see people in the media discussing, Jen defending Blonsky, right? We got a lot of people who are basically, we got a lot of men who are misogynistic talking about her being a woman and being a superhero or whatever. It was like, wow. But then you got a lot of people. Then you got one little guy said he would definitely hit that. I was like, oh my God. But you also have people who are defending Jen as well. I'm like, what has she done? Like, it's sexist. Especially the ones that was talking about no. So she went into her office and it was actually Nikki who was watching the stuff on, like, it's their form of YouTube, right? And Nikki shows it to her and Jen paid it dust. I'm like, that's how you do it, girl. Pay that ish, D-U-S-T. So I want to pause here, you guys, and I want to move forward. So Jen and Nikki, while they're sitting in the office, her boss calls her and tells her that they have a meeting. So we see Jen and Nikki heading to the meeting. So Jen is thinking that all this stuff is just going to blow over eventually. And Nikki was like, no, it's not. You're going to eventually have to do an interview with someone, right? So they go into the boss's office, and guess who's in the boss's office? You guessed it. It's Dennis. Dennis he was upset to see Jen walk in. I'm like, well, if you don't want my help, then I can easily walk back out the door. It's up to you, bruh. So there was another guy that was in the office. He's like, he looked kind of confident. Can I get him? I was like, oh, okay, he is a sexist, misogynistic pig. So we find out that Dennis wants to sue this shape-shifting elf from New Asgard because she impersonated Megan Thee Stallion, and he paid off her Volkswagen Passat. He has done a lot of things for this shapeshifter, thinking it was Megan Thee Stallion. And Jennifer, she died laughing when she was like, you thought you were dating the Megan Thee Stallion. You, of all people, thought you were dating Megan. Okay. So she was cracking up laughing. So you guys remember I told you a few minutes ago that Nikki had reached out to Wong, right? So Wong appears and she was like, let's go to my office and have a conversation. So that's what she and Wong did. They went to her office to talk, you guys. So let's pause here and let's move forward. All right, you guys. So Jennifer and Wong, they went to her office, right? So Wong, he corroborates Blonsky's story that he did come to him and he basically broke him out of prison, and that Blonsky wanted to go back to serve out his time, and he did that. So he doesn't want, for him to be punished for what he did, right? And Jennifer was like, yeah, you need to come and tell your story, right? Because he was like, he could. There's so many different things that he could do. She was like, no, we're not gonna wipe the people's memories. I was like, oh my God, not wiping people's memories. So we see Dennis, right? So Dennis is talking to the attorney that's representing him, right? So the guy asks him, so like, how much money did you spend on this elf, right? He says, you know what? Let me just start with a number, and then you tell me, higher, lower. $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. He was like, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp. He was like, how dumb do you think I am? Well, you must be that dumb to pay off a woman's Volkswagen Passat. Now, you really believe that Megan Thee Stallion was driving a Volkswagen Passat? Megan. Okay. You believe that Megan Thee Stallion was driving a Volkswagen Passat? Sir, what? So he says he spent $175,000 on this girl. I was like, say what? You thought you were dating Megan Thee Stallion. So the guy tells Dennis he's going to take the case, right? So Dennis leaves the office. So then after Dennis left the office, Dennis came back into the office and told him to drop the case. I'm like, you do realize that's the shapeshifter, right? And come to find out it was because Dennis called him about his car getting towed, right? And then she walked out the office, turned into the guy. I was like, oh my God, this is a mess. Hilarious. It was funny. This episode was actually funny to me, you guys. So we see Jen and Emil, so they are before the parole board, right? And there's no Wong because they're talking about, him escaping from prison. So she was like, there is a witness. So she had to kind of pivot. She's like, you know what? Let's let Emil tell his story. So they ask him, does he feel like he's been rehabilitated? So he tells them, yes, he feels like he's been rehabilitated, right? And in the process, we see other people talking about all the good things that Blonsky has done while he's been in prison, right? And this is all in an effort for Jen to kind of buy some time, so that way they can get what's his name, Wong there, right? It was hilarious. Good episode, really good episode. But Wong, he eventually showed up. So you guys, I want to pause here and I want to move forward. So Dennis and the elf, her name is Runa, they're in court, right? So the judge tells them that they're going to go to court because he just finds it hard to believe that Dennis really believed that he was dating Megan Thee Stallion. Well, I mean, with a person like Dennis, with an ego, conceited, stuck up, I really believe that man thought he was that hot shit to be dating Megan Thee Stallion. So when the judge left, Runa came up on the stage impersonating the judge and said that she is dismissing the case. And then we see them chasing her around the court. I was like, oh my God, this is stupid but funny at the same time, right? So we move back over to the parole board, and they're worried about Emil turning into the abomination. And he took off his shoes, and Jim's like, no, don't do that, don't do that. So he turned into the abomination, but when he turned into the abomination, he was actually able to control himself. And Jim was like, you're scaring the people, turn back. So he eventually turned back into himself, and the board told, and then the board said, you know what, we're going to think about this and we'll come back to you with our decision. And I am going to pause here and wrap up the episode, you guys. So we see Jen and Nikki, they're at the bar, and Jen is just, like, damn. Because people are calling her a monster, defending a monster, right? So then the guy that's defending Dennis, he comes in He's asking Jen and Nikki how did they work with him. I don't know how they worked with him either. But then when he realized that they know that he's just that delusional, we see him, he's calling Jen to the stand, right? And Jen is basically, the judge is like, do you think he's that stuck on himself, that he thinks he's that good, he thinks he's that kind of guy to get pull Megan Thee Stallion? She's like, yeah, he is. So Dennis wins his case. He wins his $175,000, and Runa is sentenced to 60 days in court for impersonating a judge, and Megan Thee Stallion is in the courthouse. And then Dennis is like, do you think I have a chance with the real Megan Thee Stallion? No, sir, you do not have a chance with the real Megan Thee Stallion. So then we move back over to the parole board, and we find out that Emil has been granted parole, but he can't turn into the abomination. And if he does turn into the abomination, then his parole will then be revoked, right? So we see Jen, she did a TV interview, and then after that, we see her going home, and these guys attacked her. They were trying to get some of her Hulk DNA, but the needle didn't pierce her skin, right? But she beat the hell out their asses. When I say beat the hell out of them, she beat the hell out of them. And then that's the end of the episode. We saw at the end of the episode where Meg signed with Jen, and her and Jen were twerking. I cracked up laughing. That was hilarious. But I want you guys to let me know what you guys thought about this episode of She-Hulk. So leave the comments in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video. And until the next time, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.